Hello, welcome to another video. In this video I decided I would show off my IBM PS2 Model 50Z. Wasn't exactly the first computer I wanted to show off, but it's the one I have on the bench, so it's going to be the one I end up showing. I picked this up not too long ago. It had a completely dead battery, so I had to replace that. Wasn't too expensive. I did go ahead and buy a Resound New Wave from Texelec. Works great, by the way. Very glad I bought that. Get a little sound out of my machine. It's also got an IBM LAN adapter A, so I can connect it to my LAN. And it has a expansion card for memory, a 2 to 8 meg memory expansion specifically for a machine like this. It is using the MCA bus, so it's got the 0 wait state memory, as opposed to the ISA version, if I remember correctly, is actually using 1 wait state memory, makes it a little bit slower. This is a 286 class system, and of course I plugged in a 287 math coprocessor because you have to. It's a must, it's the law. I do, as you can see here, staring at in the center of the screen, actually have an ESDI hard drive plugged in. It's a full 60 megabytes. I think the original came with 30, though there was an option for 60. My original intention was to install OS2 version 1.3 on this machine, which I actually did have installed and running for a while. But then that hard drive died, so I had to get a new one. It's very difficult to find replacements. This particular one suffers from the stiction problem. That is, whenever you shut it off, the spindle motor doesn't want to start spinning again. So I usually have to power it off and shake it to kind of release the stiction. And then I plug it back in, and with a prayer and a sacrifice to the gods, it might start spinning again. Interestingly, I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to find replacements for it, so I did buy one of those IBM MCIDE adapters, where you can actually plug in an IDE hard drive into this, and it works well. I was able to plug in 120, no, I was using an 80 meg hard drive plugged into that. But what I found out was that I can't use the MCIDE together with the 8 meg expansion memory board. Apparently the boot ROMs are incompatible. It just locks up and freezes, and I see no way to change like the order, or I don't know if they're like conflicting on memory addresses, but I didn't see any way to fix it, so I chose more memory over using a IDE hard drive as long as this one's working. So let's go ahead and power it on and take a look. It spun up good. I was afraid I was going to have to sit there and shake it to get it to spin up, but I hear the hard drive spinning, and there is it booting up. It just counted the 2 megs that are on the motherboard, well, through the memory expansion on the motherboard. 2 meg 72-pin SIM slot. Unfortunately, that's all the motherboard can handle, is just the original 2 megs. And then I got another 6 megs in that 8 meg expansion card for a total of 8 megabytes of memory on a 286. Not too bad. Sorry for all the moving. I am on my cell phone recording this. And sorry for the mess in the background. I am currently recording in my workroom in the basement. I don't know if you can hear the loud noise behind me, but that would be my furnace going. I hope it's not overpowering. Hopefully it's getting filtered out. There's my LAN adapter A. Sorry for the flickering. The flickering is not on the actual screen. It's just the refresh rate of the monitor. This is one of the reasons why I prefer using LCDs for shooting videos with. So as you can see, it started up. I'm able to use a nice 2 megabyte disk cache on here. I am actually running IBM PC-DOS version 5.02. Great operating system. I originally installed or wanted to install 3.3, but that has a limitation on hard disk partitions of up to only 32 meg. That was the original FAT16 specification. They had to update that to FAT16B, which I believe was nicknamed Big DOS. You might see that in some partition table recordings. Big DOS allowed you to go up to the full 2 gigabytes in partition sizes, the maximum supported by an signed 16-bit integer. Is it 16 or 32? Can't remember now. Anyways, so that's the startup process. I am running Norton Utilities version 5 on here. I think Norton Utilities is a great set of programs, so allows me to keep my system in top working order. I did have to run SpinRite on the hard drive, and it did find a number of bad spots. I have to admit that SpinRite was far better at catching the bad spots on this ESDI drive than Norton Disk Doctor, or even ScanDisk, because I did use a DOS 6 boot disk, DOS 6.2 technically, with ScanDisk on there. And neither one of them were as thorough or caught everything, but SpinRite caught everything the first time around, so shout out to SpinRite for being a great utility. Let me go ahead and start the networking, but before I do, I'm going to just give a little mem output here so you can have a look. So I have 583K bytes free for of conventional memory for running programs. Now, let's go ahead and start my networking. I am running the client for Microsoft Networks on here that came off the Windows NT 3.51 server CD. So this is sort of an upgraded version from LAN Manager. It actually works a little bit better, I think. And it mapped my drives from, logged me into my domain controller. It is an NT4 domain controller. Mapped my drives from my file storage server. And now I can actually access my network from a 286. I'm moving all over the place. It's hard to type and watch the view screen at the same time. But there you go. DOS, of course, can't see sizes larger than 2 gigs, so it's always going to report 2 gigs free. Was never designed for it. I did also install DOS 4, which does support Big DOS 4.01, but it was a little quirky, like a lot of people are aware. So I just decided to go with the DOS 5 upgrade, and I went and installed Windows 3.1 at the same time, since that's the last version that will support a 286 processor. I did have Windows/286 version 2.11 on here, but it was very unimpressive. I did install Windows 3.0, but then when I got the Resound New Wave, it didn't have the appropriate setup for it, so I was like, okay, fine, we'll just go to Windows 3.1. So let's go ahead and take a quick look in Windows. Oh, I forgot to show the updated memory display showing how much memory it takes up. The networking takes up a little over 100 kilobytes of memory. So I have something like 485 kilobytes free. Maybe 465, because I think there's actually a couple pieces that need to load. I don't know if you heard that, but that was the sound going off, the Resound New Wave. Works quite well. Again, this flicker is not being seen on the actual screen, it's only here. But this is Windows 3.1 running the networking, well, on top of networking, on top of DOS. So I actually have all of my networking drives up here. The iDrive is where I store all of my images. I believe these are all my floppy images, like this is Carmen San Diego, where in the USA is Carmen San Diego, etc., etc., etc. O is for operating systems, so I can quickly upgrade or look at operating systems. I actually have a little project here that I've been working on that I call Windows. No, it should be this one. That one's not finished. Windows for Workgroups 3.11 second edition. I made some updates to it, including all the latest updates for Windows 3.11. Like the updated Windows File Manager that supports post year 2000 display. As you can see here, well, no, this would be a bad example. This isn't running Windows 3.11. But I also include all the other available fixes for it. There's like a coprocessor fix for 386 CPUs. There's a updated serial driver that's more stable, has a few bug fixes. I also actually directly included the entire Windows for Workers TCP/IP 32-bit TCP/IP stack included in the entire thing, so I don't have to default to NetBEUI or NetBIOS or IPX, SPX. I can actually use TCP/IP on my networks for during the install phase, and I was able to add a couple of additional network drivers in there too, so that was a little fun project. P is for my programs. This is obviously for other computers as well. Windows 16 programs in here. Like I've got Calmira, Packard Bell Disk Image, and even Microsoft Bob. I got them. And then S is my general storage drive, because this is fascinating information. But what's beautiful is that the sound actually works on a 286 NCA bus. I shouldn't have closed that. Let's open it up and let's see if we can play some sounds in the control panel. Driver's sound. Don't know if you can hear that. Exclamation. Windows Start, ta-da, and end. So all the classic Windows 3.1 sounds. I did try installing some games on here, but most games are too much for the 286. Most Windows 3.1 games. Like I actually have a floppy version of Monopoly. The minimum requirements are a 386. I loaded it up on here anyways. It installed fine, but it runs dog slow, so yeah, that's to be expected. It is a 10 megahertz 286, so I was hoping it would do a little bit better, but not so much. So yeah, that's my IBM 286, IBM PS2. Let's go ahead and give you that memory readout. Yeah, 456 kilobytes of memory after the networking stack is loaded. So I am a bit memory constrained there. I wish I could load some of the drivers high or into extended memory, since I have plenty of extended memory. But I don't think that's going to happen. There's no way. I have to rewrite all the stack stuff myself, and I just don't have time to do that. I've got another programming project I'm working on, so not going to happen anytime soon. Maybe some other time. So that's my 286. Hope you like it. Thanks for watching.